Hey guys, it's me, Vulcan Wolverine or Kyle. It is July 20th, Wednesday. Um, I kind of got a little serious video to make today about the Baton Rouge Shooter. He was definitely a targeted individual, 100 million%. Yesterday I was kind of questioning it and I made a video. I do not agree with what he did. I think that as targeted individuals, we all have a choice of how we deal with this. Peace is the only option. I was on one of the conference calls, and one of the ladies said that John Hall, a proponent for us, said to stay away from this topic because it will hurt our cause. I disagree. I have to tell the truth about what is happening, especially in my city, and it's affected my personal targeting. What happened to this guy? The choice that he made, because they're hitting me with so much stuff in my mind and my body. I'm being tortured severely. It's picked up since this has happened, and I always have a choice. They can never make me do anything. So I want to say that, and peace is the only way through this. What he did was wrong. What he did was very wrong, and it cost the lives of three officers. I'm not sure about the one in critical condition. On the other hand, it's like the intricacies of this program caused the violence. So I need to speak about that. I'm going to read this article in New York Times. They wrote another article kind of connecting it to that other scathing article that they wrote about us, calling us delusional and schizophrenic. So what this young man did made us look even more dangerous. And if people don't understand the electronic torture, remote surveillance, remote neural monitoring, it does make us look more dangerous. But since it's done, since he did it, I want to use this as much to save lives, use this as much to keep us safe, and to know what the right thing to do is. If you are a target individual, I have to do it. It's in my heart. So I'm going to go ahead and read this article, and I'll talk about it afterwards. The Baton Rouge gunmen and target individuals. It just says by the New York Times, July 19, 2016. Many labels for Gavin Long have emerged from a rich digital footprint that he left behind. Former Marine, anti-government radical, alpha male, life coach. But one has stood out for its peculiarity, that of targeted individual. Louisiana investigators have yet to describe a motive for Mr. Long's carefully planned ambush that left 3 law enforcement officers dead and 3 others injured on Sunday in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. But Mr. Long, who was killed in the shootout, said in online posts and videos that he was a victim of a vast government conspiracy that watches and harasses everyday Americans. Numbering in the thousands, the self-described target individuals, or TIs, say that they are being tortured with mind control weapons and put under surveillance by armies of covert agents known as gang stalkers. Mental health professionals say a large number of people involved in the discussions appear to suffer from psychotic illnesses such as delusional disorder or schizophrenia. In the past, they might have suffered alone, but the internet has allowed like-minded people to easily share their obsessions with strangers around the country. In the wake of the shooting, websites, Facebook groups, and conference calls for people who believe they have been targeted have lit up with discussions about Mr. Long, with several members saying they had correspondence with him. They voice concerns that the attack could set their movement back. An overwhelming majority say they are as appalled by violence as anyone else. According to the SITE intelligence group, which monitors extremist propaganda, Mr. Long appeared to have latched onto much of the target individual belief system, with a fixation on law enforcement officials as his persecutors. Mr. Long, who also went by the name Cosmo Seterpinra online, said in a recent post that he had been watched day and night as a target individual for the past 11 years. In a blog he maintained, he shared an article that asserted the gang stalking would better be described as, quote, police gang stalking, because, quote, 99% of all gang stalking is perpetrated by the police. SITE said in a report released on Monday. In one of his recent podcasts, he talked about being closely monitored by Marine Corps superiors who singled him out. He served from 2005 to 2010. Once they knew that I was a man and I would stand on my rights, and this is his words. This is This is Gavin's words. Once they knew that I was a man and I would stand on my rights, that nothing they could do could scare me, that's when they knew they really, really had to keep a close eye on me, he said. Mr. Long suggested that the government had blacklisted him from employment after his military service ended, and he said that it had instructed friends to stay away from him. Essentially, basically, it's isolation, he says, because they don't want that spirit of courage to spread, because their whole gimmick is fear. In a comment on a conspiracy-minded website, he urged fellow TIs to keep their beliefs to themselves, assume everyone they know, friends and family included, was in on it, he said. Those remarks set him apart from people who identify themselves as leaders of the movement. They have increasingly sought to publicize their plight as a legitimate human rights concern, which it is, creating awareness campaigns and lobbying for their causes in courts and legislatures. I added in, which it is. I added that, my own words. Mental health professionals note that people suffering from psychosis often spiral into isolation and depression, but rarely resort to violence. Yet Mr. Long's attack represented at least the third recent mass shooting to be associated with people who believed they were being targeted by a government conspiracy. Myron May, who in 2014 shot 3 people at Florida State University, left behind videos in which he meticulously described his experience of being gang-stalked. And many members of the movement believe that Aaron Alexis, who killed 12 people at the Washington Navy Yard in 2013, also identified as a targeted individual. Mr. Long, who sought to reinvent himself as a wellness coach and a freedom strategist after leaving the military, at one point volunteered as an emotional support contact for other people who believed they were victims, according to the former leader of a TI group, Derek Robertson. He once described his plight by drawing an analogy to a slave plantation. I'm the one that's freeing slaves, so what do you think they would do to the person that's freeing slaves from the plantation? He told a podcast interviewer in May. You don't think that they would target and harass that individual? Asked by the host, Lance Skirvin, to respond to people's skepticism, Mr. Long said, you just can't put nothing past this society. If you study history, you know that they'll do anything, he said. That's just the power of evil. Even so, Mr. Long played down the fear and urged others to reject the label of targeted individual. He told Mr. Skirvin, that's just a small aspect of me. I can tell people about it, but it's not a complete picture of who I am. I'm infinite. You are infinite. After the show, Mr. Long posted a comment on the podcast website listing, quote, 7 gold rules to surviving organized gang stalking. Several weeks later, Mr. Long's social media remarks became increasingly hostile, the SITE intelligence group said. In a YouTube video posted on July 8th, the day after a sniper killed police officers in Dallas, he disavowed connections with any group, asserting that his only affiliation was with the spirit of justice. He wrote a similar note that was posted on Mr. Skirvin's Facebook page. 9 days later, dressed all in black and armed with 2 high-powered guns, Mr. Long died in a shootout with police officers. It was his 29th birthday. So I wanted to go ahead and read that article. I also want to say just wholeheartedly, peace is the only way. Since this happened, we do maybe need to use this to show the dangers of it, to show that people out there isolated who are being attacked by these directed energy weapons, we're not sure what they're going to do. My attackers know that I'm not violent. One of the chief of the city police sits on the board of my charity, and you saw him on CNN. He didn't speak, but he was on there. He's on the board of the charity that I work at. I am a targeted individual, y'all know that. And they use remote neural monitoring on me. They use electronic surveillance, ELF beams to my body, which hurt and burn me, and also EHF, extremely high pitch microwave radiation to my head, my ears. What I have known, and I've been a target individual, or a targeted survivor, whatever you want to call it. I say target individual because it's a word that people associate with, and it can get the word out more. I would rather not identify myself with that label, because we are more. But they've done everything to me, and I'm still peaceful, and I still make my own choices. So I feel that this is dangerous to people who feel like they have no choice. The remote neural monitoring can increase things that are already there. So if you do have somebody who maybe doesn't like the cops and is angry, it can amplify those feelings, and it could lead to bad decisions, horrifying decisions like this young man made. I should have prayed before this. I prayed privately for God to give me the words, and to give us all the words and stout hearts in this. I want to say that the day of the shooting, Sunday, I was not caravanned or patrolled by any policemen. I was like, at least that seems kind of sane. They were pulled off to go deal with that. I was still caravanned by citizens. The days following, every day following, and even now, police have begun caravanning me again, and I actually got followed by an EMS worker, which I got on tape. This has not helped me or my family. What this man did, it has actually increased my electronic torture. They are using it as an excuse, because the people who don't know that TIs are telling the truth, that they are being hit with directed energy weapons, they're involved in the DHS fusion centers. So I'm getting a lot more aggressive street theater around my condo. I'm getting more aggressive vehicular stalking. So these actions that you take as a TI affect other TIs, and it affects everything. Violence feeds into violence. Hatred feeds into hatred. The only way to solve this is to be smart, and peace is the only solution. If that young man would have gotten into contact with me when he got into the city, and he wouldn't have been at that point of desperation, he could have joined with me and another target individual, and it goes through my mind. I at first I didn't know that he was in Texas, and I thought he was here, and I was just like, I could have stopped that. I could have stopped him if I would have gotten in contact with him. But I found out he had just come to the city from Texas. But if he would have came here and he would have contacted me, I could have given him defenses. I could have told him peaceful ways to beat this, to join up. I think he had a mentality that protesting and activism was girly or something like that, and this is what he did. So if you think protesting and activism is girly, then you're, I think you're wrong. I think you're dead wrong. You're wrong. And that is not a pun. I'm sorry about that wording. I'm very sorry about that wording. I'm trying to, I'm being hurt very badly, so I'm really trying to watch my words. This is a serious issue for target individuals, and I just want to report on it, and I want to report how it's affected my targeting, so that we know this is not going to help us. Now, since it's happened, I'm going to try and get a video up with just the title of Baton Rouge Shooter, and try and catch this news cycle like my friend said. I think he's right. I think that we need to go ahead and report this, and as peaceful TIs who aren't going to do anything wrong, we have to show the dangers of what can happen with this, with somebody who's not equipped, who may have violent tendencies or something like that. It pushes them over the edge. This guy was an ex-Marine. It dishonors him. It dishonors those cops. It costs cops' lives. This program costs the lives of 3 policemen and more people, from the Navy Yard shooter. Meyer Mays, thank God he didn't kill anybody. This has cost lives of people who aren't even involved in the program. So if any policemen are watching in my city, in any other city, this stuff is dangerous. Even working with the DHS fusion centers, you're caravanning people who are directed energy weapons are being tested on them. Remote neural monitoring, images shoved into their mind, phrases shoved into their mind. This stuff can drive somebody crazy. Fortunately, in my situation, and a lot of other target individual situations,